All right, welcome to the second part of the series where we're going to be putting the foam underneath the floor. As we talked about in the first series, we went over all the different chemicals we're going to be using, part A and part B. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and lift this little guy up, and we'll spin that off. And there's another one. Alright, so that one is ready to go. I'll put that back on for a little bit, and let's take a look at this one now. Okay, and then in part B is this other little piece here. I like to use a pair of pliers and grab onto it. Let's see if we can. Here we go. Voila. Now, if you're planning on reusing it, you probably don't want to do what I just did, but I'm going to be using so much of this stuff that I don't really care, because look, it won't twist back on. So keep that in mind if you're just, ramrodding it, so to speak, with the way that I did it. So anyway, we're going to pour, at least for me, I'm going to pour 1 quart at a time. So let's go ahead and take our measurement here. And it's just, remember, it's going to be a 50-50 measurement here. So we're going to go up to 32 ounces, as it says here. And that's going to be to the line of the inside of the rim. So that would be our little guy in here. All right, so let's go ahead and get that measured out. I'll do part B first, and then part A, and then we'll prep it to mix into the 2.5 quart. All right, so another tip here is label your cups part A and part B, because what you're going to have happen is if you switch those, even though there's only going to be residual amounts of the chemical left over at the bottom, it will activate inadvertently if you forget. So mark it and only use part A for the entire boat moving forward. Same thing with part B. So do some quick measurements as well. Make sure you're not going to screw yourself when you're going to pour. You'll see here, these are 1 quarts here, and then this clearly says 2.5 quarts. So we're going to go ahead and we'll pour 1 in first. As soon as we pour part B, you're going to have roughly 20 seconds. It's pretty hot out here today, so I'm actually going to mix this for maybe 10 to 15 seconds, and I'm going to pour it. As your a quick pro tip here too, to know that it's starting to kick off, is it'll actually start to foam. And when you start to see it foam up, that's when you know you're going to have to get rid of it, so to speak. Put it in the hole pretty fast. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take part A, and we'll dump it in here. Alright, just make sure you capture all of it. It looks like we got just about, we won't be able to be that much of a perfectionist with part B, because that's going to cost us some time to do that. So anyway, the goal here is, remember, 20-25 seconds, but it's almost 100 degrees out here, so I'm going to do about 15 seconds. So, all right, here goes nothing, and go. All right, so there's 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Good enough for me? Alright, let's go ahead and pour very carefully into the hole here. Alright. There we go. Alright, looks like it is. Get a quick shot here and we'll see. Thing slowly. Alright, so we'll give it a second to kick off. You can see some of the spots right here are already starting to activate. That's kind of your clue that it's doing something in there. Yep, I can see it jumping up a little bit in there. Kind of hard to see. Okay, so you may be hesitant once it starts foaming up to get in here and start cleaning it off. No need to do that, because right now in the liquid state, it makes a lot of mess. So don't even bother trying to clean it up right now. Rather, what you want to do is let it dry and then slice it off. So as it is right now, don't even bother touching it. All right, so here's what I was mentioning in here. You notice how I stuck the stick back in there and it started foaming in here. So keep that in mind when you're doing this in the future. Be careful where you put your stuff, your materials, because now you have to go in there and clean that cup out. Just a quick tip there. All right, so you can see here it is starting to come out the top a little bit, and you may be tempted to put your foot on top of it, but definitely don't do that because it could cause some cracking and things underneath the floor if it has nowhere to expand to. So definitely let that foam come on out, and it'll be easy to come out, and you can use a saw blade or hacksaw blade afterwards to snip off the top. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do this next one here. Put A in first. And a lot of this is just rinse, wash, repeat, because there's nothing really too different. The main thing, like I said, is you want to make sure you count adequately. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll stop counting for the camera. Okay, so here we go. And you can see once it's good and mixed, you should be good to go. We'll go ahead and start pouring it. And the trick is, after you've done this for a while, you won't make any kind of mess along the edge of the boat, at least on the flooring. Alright, voila. Alright, so that is that. Alright, so you can see we're starting to reach expansion now, and everything is moving forward. I tilted the front of the boat upwards, so it filled the back part of the boat first. And you definitely want to let it expand. You may be tempted to put your foot on it, like I said, but definitely don't do it. Let it do its thing, and definitely don't try to clean it up right now. You will notice around the floor that it gets kind of hot. That's completely normal. And you're going to see these, but this is easy to clean up afterwards too, with some sandpaper. So don't stress too much if you start seeing all the foam get all over the place. Okay, and now we're going to do that last one, the third in this series here. Actually, this time I mixed part B, but that's okay. And we'll mix it with A. Let's see if it makes any difference. I don't think it will. Alright, and here we go. I'll count. Okay, so as I poured in this front one here, I don't see any foam towards the bottom. And you can see here, this is kind of in a tight area, but somehow I'm still managing not to make a complete mess. Alright, here we go. And that is it. Alright. So another trick here, as we pan back to the camera, you're going to want to try to reuse the same bucket. And I'll tell you a trick is clean off your stick, and then in here, take a rag and try to clean inside here while that's doing all of its foaming action. If you get to it before it makes its chemical reaction, you can actually clean this bucket out really easily. And I'll show you here in just a minute what I'm talking about as an example. Alright, take a look there. So, if you forget to clean your bucket out after your chemistry experiment here, you're going to have this business. So technically you could grab it and pull it all out, but you got to wait for that to dry. So do yourself a favor and clean the bucket out in between. And we can see as we've been talking here, it is now officially expanding forward. And we'll let it do its thing. All right, we got one more to do after this, so let's go ahead and do it. This part A is going down. All right, there goes A. And now here comes B. This stuff isn't as reactive as you think it would be. They say 20-25 seconds, but I've noticed it doesn't really expand for quite some time. So you do have a little bit more time than you think. And currently it's almost 90-95 degrees out here, so it is nice and yeah, it's nice and hot. So even at hotter temperatures, it's not as reactive as you think it is. All right. And here we go, another 5 or 10 seconds. All right. I'll go ahead and pour this sucker down in here. Kind of looks like caramel, interesting enough.
Yummy.
All right. Okay, and we'll let it do its thing in the hole. You probably can't see it, but once it starts foaming, I'll give another shot of it. All right, here is the last one, part A. All right, after you've done this 12 times, it becomes quite easy. So here's one. And we are ready to pour. This one is going to foam out pretty crazy like because there's already a good amount of foam in there, so that's all right. If it comes out, I'm not worried about it. We'll scrape it off as needed. All right. So that is that. We'll go ahead and let it expand. But that should be it in terms of all the foam we got here. We'll go ahead and let that expand out, and then I'll show you what the next step is going to be. All right, so let's go ahead and clean this bucket out. We may be able to still use it for maybe mixing some epoxy later on. All right, and let's go ahead and dump this. I got one more paper towel here, but you can see this stuff is tricky to get out. Okay, so all 12 of the holes have actually completely become solid at this point. You can see this closed cell foam is good and hard. So like I said, I've had to use a hacksaw blade before to get it off, but I've got some of my team members here that are going to help me remove it. So let's go ahead and remove this first one here. All right, so you can kind of see here, the top comes off pretty easily, and then you may find some of this is still a little wet, but that's fine. You can sand all this later on. Let's go ahead and remove the second one here. All right, and that's that. It looks like a little mushroom here. Same difference here, but you can tell this stuff is hard as a rock. All right, so we move to the center section. I'll go ahead and remove those. Yeah, that one came off real easy. And we'll go ahead and pull that one off, that little guy. All right, easy enough. And let's move to the front now. These are the bigger ones. Comes off pretty easy. It's really strange how they look, just like a yeah, or a mushroom top. It's kind of interesting, but this stuff is super hard. This is a lot different than that spray foam that you'll get from Walmart. And like I said, this is closed cell. It is specifically designed to resist being in contact with water. All right, so let's go ahead and remove the last one. It comes all pretty easily, and we'll go through afterwards and kind of sand this area. But you can see this is still a little, the instructions say you need to wait about 30 minutes, but this is actually still a little warm. So let me show you real quick now how much foam we actually used to do a 19-foot boat, because I'm sure everyone's curious. All right, so just so you all are aware, let's show how much foam we used to do a 19-foot boat. So this one, we used 1, 2, 3, and then we got about half left of this one here to complete almost 4, and basically out of an 80-pound kit, we had 1 full container left. So we definitely used 3 solid ones. So if you're thinking about getting this yourself, I believe, I'm not sure what the volume is here, but you're going to need at least 3 of these 2-pound containers to complete a full 19-foot boat. And as a precaution, you definitely want to get a 4th one just in case you need it. So anyway, I hope you liked the video. I'm going to go ahead and sand all the spots down after everything looks good to go, but that's it for this. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber on my channel, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Have a good one.